Hello, welcome. Dr. Sushma Singh this side. Today in Unit 27, Dam and Displacement, we are going to start our lecture with experiments with alternatives to large dams. What then is the alternative? Are there no alternatives to large dams? Is there no other ways of addressing the water crisis and yet reduce the human and ecological cost entailed in the construction of large dams? Are small technologies or community level initiatives sustainable, and have there always been environmentally and socially appropriate? In India, it is common knowledge that low castes such as the untouchables were and still are in some parts of the country denied access to community-based water resources. The debate on dam and displacement has brought these questions and issues to the forefront. Thus, it is necessary to move beyond the rhetoric of small is beautiful or the unending debate over traditional versus modernity and delve on some of the experiments taken up to address the water crisis. There are ongoing alternatives to big dams that are being experimented with by grassroots organizations in the various parts of the country as well as the world. According to the UN Food and Agricultural Organization, almost half of the 5 million hectares irrigated land receives water from small-scale and traditional systems. Similarly, according to official sources in India, 3/5 of the irrigated area receives water from traditional wells or small reservoirs known locally as tanks. Alternatives to large dams have concentrated on two broad aspects of water management: recharging groundwater and water conservation. One of the biggest impediments to water conservation has been the indiscriminate use and waste of water in urban areas as well as for irrigation. Many modern techniques such as drip irrigation, in which water is delivered directly to the roots of the plant through porous piping, and sprinklers are commonly known for prudent method of irrigation. Similarly, urban domestic consumption of water has been a matter of concern in advanced societies. A set of measures introduced in Arizona helped to bring down the household consumption of water from 760 liter to 590 liter per day per person. These measures include subsidizing the distribution of water efficient technologies like low flush toilets that use 6 liters of water instead of 16 liters used by a conventional flush system. Initiating campaign on water conservation as well as the fitting meters to monitor water consumption in each household. Another method has been successfully used in Israel is the utilization of treated sewage or municipal waste water for irrigation. In the early 1990s, the catchphrase in India was watershed development. It was considered as an alternative to big dams, a natural way of harnessing and collecting runaway river water and rainwater by diverting it into tanks and wells through trenches, etc. Government circles, the international funding agencies as well as the NGOs were taken in by this method, and community level initiatives were started all over the country. The principle was to work along the topography of the area. Rivers are supplied by numerous sources of water that channel rainwater to rivers. These sources from which rivers catch their water are called catchments. The idea is to harness the water from the catchments by planting shrubs and plants on the natural slopes to slow down the momentum of its flow and reduce soil erosion, as well as hold water in the area for local use. The water thus weighted down is then channeled through the trenches, troughs, etc. into tanks, barns, and wells. Watershed development has succeeded in a number of villages but has not really taken off on a large scale as an alternative for harnessing water. Experiments in watershed management have certain common characteristics in that they require small-scale efforts at the village level, with each village creating their system to tap water. But although individuals' efforts came together as a part of a large scheme, the scheme therefore requires an equally efficient management, cooperation of people as well as technical guidance, as each area has a distinct topographical and watershed profile. It requires technical and management experts to acquiesce on the scheme in as much as it requires careful consultation with the community on the efficacy of the design. Practical knowledge about the terrain and climatic behavior are often crucial tests of the scientific experiments. As observed in most cases across the country, the success of watershed development has usually depended upon how well the program has been received by the community and whether they have actively participated in its conception and implementation. At the community level, the issues of water rights of socially and economically disadvantaged groups have been crucial. Conflicts over resources have become highly volatile, with the rich and the socially powerful trying to corner the benefits of the hitherto common resources and fortifying the conditions for deprivation and poverty. These alternatives to large dams or macro irrigation projects have typically their own constraints, social, technical, and managerial. Micro irrigation efforts have been dismissed for its limited scope and scale, yet they have been appreciated for the use of diversity of cost-effective techniques as well as for initiating community-based programs instead of the top-down administration of water projects. As in the case of large dams, thereby introducing transparency and people's participation in maintaining and managing natural resources. Now let us conclude the unit. The unit began with a short note on dam enunciating with their historical significance as well as the role of the state and community in managing water resources through the ages. Clearly, famine and droughts have always concerned human civilization, but the problem has intensified in the modern era. This millennium is characterized by a water crisis which is aggravated by the day. While human civilization has been able to tap natural resources for the benefit of the humankind with the advancement of modern science and technology, the latter has also disregarded the rhythm of nature, leading to the present ecological crisis. The debate on the dam and displacement also demonstrated how large dams not only displaced people but also that the displaced people belong to the marginalized section of the society, such as tribes, poor peasants, and the landless. This section on alternatives demonstrated how alternatives to large dams, taking cue from the experience with large dams the world over, have tried to focus on environmentally friendly and viable techniques of harnessing water, as well as evolving a great participation of people so as to ensure equal accessibility to water resources across social and economic divisions. Although the alternatives have also been subjected to criticism regarding their efficacy and sustainability, they illustrate the relentless endeavor to experiment and seek solution to one of the world's most critical concerns, water. Here we want to close this lecture and we have come to the end of the unit. Thanks for listening.